Hey everybody. So we've been having this conversation about what is the nature between drawing and making and building. We've been using this term architectonics to describe it. And that's kind of hard to pin down. If you go online, there's lots of definitions and images using the word architectonics. But we're going to be understanding it by the way that things look and the way that we draw them that describes the way that they're put together or structured. If you kind of look at it, it's the reason why a certain building or material always seems to show up in the same proportions or hierarchy. There's still a lot of definitions, but let's try this one from Cooper Union that talks about the study of the relationships or interrelationships of space and structure in visual composition, the syntax of architecture through model making and drawing. Yeah, that's still really confusing. It would probably be a lot easier if I just showed you what I'm talking about by maybe using a language that we're all familiar with, like looking at a building and drawing it. So let's try doing that instead. We actually use this all the time in architecture. Here's a drawing analysis looking at different column capital molding types from classical buildings. This one is a series of historic American building survey drawings of the Samuel Hug House in Camden, New Jersey, looking at the plan and elevation of an interior room and all sorts of line weights and details. This is another drawing of the Pantheon as shown by Piranesi. It's this beautiful analysis drawing. It's actually part of a larger paper by Joanna Barbara Rapp, and I'll put a link to that if you're interested in seeing more of her awesome drawings. But a lot of times we use drawings to show us what we knew used to be there. This is the Heathen Gate in Austria, which was brought to my attention by an episode of 99% Invisible. I'll put a link in that in the description. And here you stand in front of the drawing to see what used to be there. But what if you didn't know what was there? How could you use drawing to maybe find out more or maybe try to walk through the site again? We're going to use this example of the Yagul archaeological site in Zapotec civilization in Oaxaca, Mexico. It was suggested by one of your classmates who's using it for their history case study analysis. It's in this beautiful landscape, and the photographs of the site are really amazing. So let's do what we always automatically do. Zoom in on Google Maps and figure out where this is in the world. So we're going to zoom in on the site. You can see this valley. It's kind of right in the middle of this cross-sectional river valley. It's on this plateau. We're going to zoom in and you can see the echoes of the foundations of what's there. It's over 2,500 years old. We don't know nearly enough about it, and we're still discovering information about it, but we're going to use this as our basis. So we'll take that photo and we'll check out what the tourists have taken pictures of. I mean, this is breathtaking. Look at the valley that we're in. Look at how kind of lush and amazing this is. No wonder they chose this as a site of importance to build a permanent piece of architecture. And these photographs can really give us an amazing feel for what the atmosphere of the place is in the sun and in the clouds. But it can't give us everything. And so I'm wondering where drawing can come in. Let's look at seeing if we can't find a drawing that we can work from. So here's an archaeological plan that is available online. We got it from the archaeological site of the state itself. This is all in Spanish, but again, I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. So we downloaded this high quality map, and using a digital editing software, we're going to draw on top of it. We recorded it, and I'm going to share it with you now. Now, I think the hardest thing about drawing is that it's actually it's a very slow process. And I try to do a couple of things, which is kind of stay curious, keep the lines going, and not try to overthink it, but really just keep the pencil moving. It's slow, and you'll see in the drawing process that in some spaces it comes really, really quickly because all of a sudden there's lots of repetitive things to draw, or a couple of connections start lining up and the drawing becomes saturated. At other times the drawing slows down, but you gotta kind of keep up and keep drawing through it. The program that I'm using allows me to draw on different layers and use different colors, but this is just as usable if you're working either by hand with layers of trace paper or in a sketchbook, or even if you were doing models and drawing on top of models. So keep that in mind. We've used kind of ridiculous sound effects to try to tell the story, but rather than talk over the entire drawing, I would just encourage you to use the fast forward and rewind button to see how the drawing builds hierarchy as it keeps going on. Now, I don't know about this historical site, and I don't know if any of the hierarchies that we're drawing are actually archaeologically true. But that's not the point of what we're trying to do today. What we're trying to do is look at if we can find an architectonic of the site. Is there a sense that comes to the foreground by drawing over what's there and even making some predictions or some guesses about what we think might be there, or informed by those tracings, can we then go on and draw more things that are sympathetic or inspired by those architectonic, those material, model, spatial things? So that's the drawing. It's a little silly, and it's not that fantastic, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a loose, rough sketch that you use to explore and then maybe go back and make a better drawing of. Here, by just turning the layers on and off, we can find different combinations of the drawing and look at the spaces that are created, the hierarchies that are created by these grids that keep interlinking with each other, and these courtyard systems that seem to be very, very important. Reflecting on this even more, though, you can even start to look at how it fits in the valley and see that that same exact system continues to repeat. I hope you found this video helpful. If it is, we can work with more students and make some more of them. I want to say thank you to all the students that were involved in making this. Tune in for more.